Hello, Zenith women, and welcome to the channel. She was a storm dressed as a whisper, a paradox no one could solve but everyone wanted to understand. The term Sigma female might sound like the protagonist of an edgy action movie, but it's more than just an internet buzzword. Behind the allure of independence and mystique lies a personality type that's as misunderstood as it is compelling. Yet for all the fascination, misconceptions abound. Did you know? Studies show that people often misjudge individuals with reserved yet confident personas, assuming they're aloof or even unapproachable. For Sigma females, this couldn't be further from the truth. But try telling that to someone convinced you're plotting world domination simply because you don't overshare at brunch. The Sigma female walks the fine line between mystery and myth, navigating a world eager to label what it can't quite grasp. So let's clear the air, and maybe have a little fun along the way, as we debunk 10 common myths about Sigma females that simply aren't true. Spoiler, they're not secretly building bunkers to avoid humanity, probably. Number 1. Myth. They reject traditional gender roles because they're anti-men. People often assume that Sigma females reject traditional gender roles because they have something against men. This misconception couldn't be more off the mark. Sigma females don't reject traditional roles out of hostility or rebellion. They simply refuse to let society define their value or identity. They see life as a canvas to create their own path, not a template to follow. It's not about being anti-men or rejecting others. It's about embracing themselves fully. For a Sigma female, traditional roles might feel restrictive because they often fail to capture the complexity of who she is. Why should her worth hinge on fitting into a predefined box when she's capable of building her own? This mindset often gets mistaken for defiance, but it's really about freedom, the freedom to live authentically without apology. What's more, Sigma females don't reject roles entirely. If aspects of tradition align with their personal values, they'll embrace them without hesitation. The difference is that they choose rather than conform. They're not against being nurturing, supportive, or even a homemaker if that's what resonates with them. They're simply against being told that's all they can or should be. This approach doesn't come from a place of bitterness or resentment. It's grounded in respect. Sigma females respect individuality for themselves and others. They value partnerships built on mutual understanding, not societal expectations. They can admire and support strong, independent men just as much as they expect the same in return. So no, Sigma females aren't here to cancel tradition or wage war on men. They're here to remind everyone that individuality trumps stereotypes. Rejecting a role doesn't mean rejecting the people associated with it. It just means embracing the freedom to write their own story, one chapter at a time. Number 2. Myth. They're too serious and lack a sense of humor. The myth that Sigma females are too serious and lack a sense of humor overlooks the subtle brilliance of their wit. It's not that they don't find humor in the world around them, they just don't subscribe to the usual brand of comedy. Sigma females tend to favor dry, witty humor that's often layered with nuance, irony, and cleverness. While they might not burst into laughter at surface-level jokes or trendy memes, that doesn't mean they don't have a sharp, quick sense of humor. Their humor is often understated, delivered with a deadpan expression that leaves others unsure whether they're joking or being serious. This can easily be misunderstood as a lack of humor, but for those who understand them, it's precisely this dry delivery that makes their humor so engaging. They appreciate wit over slapstick, sarcasm over fluff, and subtlety over loudness. When they find something genuinely funny, their laugh is rare but unforgettable, a quiet acknowledgement of something truly clever or absurd. Sigma females may not always engage in group banter or joke around in large social settings, but this doesn't mean they lack the ability to connect through humor. On the contrary, once you earn their trust and are privy to their more private moments, you'll discover a humor that's sharp, original, and often unexpected. They can make dry observations about life that might leave you laughing for days, but only if you're paying attention. Their humor isn't about seeking attention or approval. It's simply an expression of their unique perspective on the world. So, if you ever catch a Sigma female making a wry comment or dropping a well-timed one-liner. Remember, what seems like seriousness on the surface is actually a very clever and often hilarious mind at work. Number 3. Myth. They are naturally distant in friendships. Sigma. Females are often seen as naturally distant in friendships, but this assumption completely misses the mark. They're not distant because they're cold or indifferent, they're selective. Time and energy are precious to them, and they won't squander either on superficial connections. To a Sigma female, a friendship isn't about quantity, it's about quality. They aren't the type to flood your phone with constant messages or insist on daily catch-ups. Instead, their friendships are built on depth and mutual understanding. If they seem distant, it's often because they're observing, evaluating, and ensuring that the connection is worth the emotional investment. They believe in a two-way street. The same care, effort, and loyalty they give must be reciprocated. Once a Sigma female decides you're worth it, however, her loyalty becomes a force of nature. She'll stand by you not just during the good times, but also when life gets messy. Unlike surface-level friends who disappear when things get tough, Sigma females are the ones who show up unannounced with solutions, support, or just quiet companionship when you need it most. That said, their loyalty isn't blind. If a friend takes advantage of their trust or shows a lack of respect, a Sigma female won't hesitate to walk away. They're not interested in drama or one-sided relationships, and they won't sacrifice their well-being for the sake of keeping the peace. Far from being distant, Sigma females are fiercely committed to the friendships they nurture. They simply won't waste their time on people who don't value their presence. If you're lucky enough to earn their trust, you'll find a friend who's as rare as they are remarkable. Number 4. Myth. They are intimidating because they're arrogant. The myth that Sigma females are intimidating because they're arrogant is rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding of their confidence. They aren't arrogant, they're self-assured. The difference lies in intent. Arrogance seeks to belittle others, while self-assurance is simply being secure in one's identity. Sigma females don't flaunt their confidence to prove a point. They carry it quietly, which can be unsettling for those who rely on external validation to feel secure. Sigma females have no need to explain themselves or seek approval, and this unshakable independence can come across as intimidating. They don't waste energy justifying their choices or molding themselves to fit someone else's expectations. To some, this quiet certainty might seem dismissive, but in reality, it's a refusal to participate in the games of ego and comparison that many find comfort in. This dynamic often creates a clash of perceptions. People who equate confidence with arrogance might see a Sigma female's straightforward demeanor as a sign of superiority. In truth, she's simply focused on her path, not on proving she's better than anyone else. Her self-respect and clear boundaries can make her seem aloof, but it's really her way of maintaining peace and authenticity. What truly sets Sigma females apart is that their confidence isn't performative. They don't need applause, nor do they seek to dominate conversations or spaces. Their power lies in their ability to remain true to themselves, even when others misinterpret it. If they intimidate, it's not because they're trying to, it's because their independence and refusal to conform challenge the status quo. Sigma females don't demand respect. They quietly command it, leaving a lasting impression not through arrogance but through undeniable presence and authenticity. Number 5. Myth. They don't believe in collaboration. The myth that Sigma females don't believe in collaboration stems from their independent and self-sufficient nature. People often mistake their preference for working alone as a rejection of teamwork, but the reality is far more nuanced. Sigma females aren't against collaboration. They're against conformity for conformity's sake. They'll gladly work with others if the partnership aligns with their values, goals, and creative vision. For a Sigma female, collaboration isn't about blending into the crowd or following the loudest voice in the room. It's about pooling strengths, sharing ideas, and pushing boundaries in a way that respects individuality. They excel in environments that value innovation over groupthink. When the setting encourages unique contributions rather than rigid hierarchies, Sigma females thrive. That said, they're selective about their collaborative endeavors. If a project feels disorganized, forced, or rife with ego clashes, they'll likely opt out. They have no patience for power struggles or time-wasting meetings that could have been an email. This discernment can make them seem standoffish, but it's actually a mark of their efficiency and clarity of purpose. When they do collaborate, Sigma females bring a unique energy to the table. They're insightful problem solvers who think outside the box, often presenting perspectives others haven't considered. Their ability to balance independence with teamwork makes them invaluable partners, especially in high-stakes situations where creativity and focus are key. In truth, Sigma females don't avoid collaboration, they redefine it. They challenge the idea that teamwork requires sacrificing individuality. Instead, they show that the best collaborations are those where every voice is respected, every idea is considered, and the result is something greater than the sum of its parts. And number 6, myth. They are emotionless. The notion that Sigma females are emotionless couldn't be further from the truth. In reality, they feel as deeply as anyone, perhaps even more so. But they've mastered the art of channeling their emotions in a constructive way. Their calm, composed exterior isn't a lack of feeling. It's a deliberate choice to navigate life with resilience and purpose. Sigma females understand that emotions are powerful tools, not weaknesses. They don't let feelings like anger, fear, or sadness control them, but neither do they suppress them. Instead, they process their emotions privately, away from the chaos of external judgment. This often leads people to assume they're detached, when in fact they're just introspective. Their emotional mastery isn't about being unbothered, it's about choosing their battles wisely. In moments of crisis, while others may panic or react impulsively, Sigma females remain steady. They assess the situation, determine the best course of action, and move forward with clarity. This ability to stay grounded under pressure makes them a stabilizing force in both personal and professional settings. It's not that Sigma females don't cry or feel heartbreak, they just don't wear their emotions on their sleeve. They share their vulnerabilities selectively with people they trust deeply. This adds to their mystique, as outsiders often struggle to decipher what's going on beneath the surface. Far from being emotionless, Sigma females are emotionally intelligent and self-aware. They've simply learned that not every feeling needs to be broadcasted to the world. Their strength lies in their ability to channel even the most intense emotions into growth, creativity, and purpose, turning what others might see as chaos into clarity. Number 7, myth. They hate leadership roles. The idea that Sigma females hate leadership roles is a misunderstanding rooted in their aversion to traditional hierarchies and power dynamics. They don't reject leadership because they lack the ability or ambition. They reject the notion that leadership is about dominance or status. Sigma females aren't interested in climbing ladders just to prove they're at the top. They prefer to lead in ways that matter, focusing on substance over show. When placed in leadership roles, Sigma females thrive because they lead through influence, not intimidation. Their quiet confidence and ability to connect with others make them natural problem solvers and visionaries. They inspire trust, not by barking orders, but by demonstrating competence, empathy, and strategic thinking. People follow them because they respect their approach, not because they're forced to. Sigma females are also innovative leaders who think outside the box. They don't conform to the rules of traditional leadership. Instead, they adapt and create solutions that fit the unique challenges of their environment. They see opportunities where others see obstacles, often making bold but calculated decisions that benefit the bigger picture. What sets Sigma females apart is their disinterest in power for validation. They don't need the title or applause to feel accomplished. They care more about the impact they make. This lack of ego allows them to focus on the success of their team or organization rather than their personal glory. While they may not seek leadership roles, when responsibility finds them, Sigma females rise to the occasion with grace and capability. They redefine what it means to be a leader, proving that power doesn't have to be loud to be effective. Their leadership style is a refreshing mix of strength, humility, and innovation, qualities that often make them unforgettable. Number 8. Myth. Sigma females are always lone wolves. The myth that Sigma females are always lone wolves paints a misleading picture of their true nature. While it's true that they value solitude, this doesn't mean they're antisocial or perpetually withdrawn. Sigma females aren't avoiding people, they're avoiding superficiality. They crave meaningful connections and prefer depth over the fleeting comfort of surface-level interactions. Their love for alone time stems from a need to recharge, reflect, and focus on their own growth. For them, solitude is not loneliness. It's a sanctuary where they can thrive without distractions. However, this doesn't mean they reject companionship. Sigma females are highly selective about the company they keep because they understand the impact relationships have on their emotional and mental well-being. If they appear distant, it's often because they're filtering out noise. They don't waste energy on small talk or relationships that lack authenticity. This doesn't make them cold, it makes them intentional. They believe in quality over quantity when it comes to friendships and social interactions. When they do connect with others, they bring sincerity, loyalty, and depth to the relationship. Their friendships are built on mutual respect and trust, and once you're in their inner circle, their support is unwavering. They might not be the life of the party, but they'll be the friend who listens when it matters most or shows up when you least expect it. Far from being lone wolves, Sigma females are discerning pack members who prioritize meaningful connections over societal expectations. Their solitude isn't a rejection of others, it's a commitment to themselves. And when they choose to share their time and energy, it's a choice made with purpose, not out of obligation. Number 9. Myth. They fear vulnerability. The myth that Sigma females fear vulnerability comes from the misunderstanding that they're emotionally detached or closed off. In reality, vulnerability is not their weakness, it's their strength. Sigma females are deeply introspective, and they know the power of being open and vulnerable. But they understand that vulnerability, like all emotions, requires care and intention. It's not something they offer to just anyone, and certainly not to those who haven't earned their trust. Sigma females don't shy away from vulnerability because they're afraid of being hurt. They choose to share their inner world only with those who truly deserve to witness it. For them, being vulnerable is a powerful act of trust. It's about letting someone into a space where they feel safe enough to show who they really are, without pretense or defense. They don't waste emotional energy on superficial interactions, but when they do open up, it's with depth and purpose. Their vulnerability is selective, not a sign of weakness. It's rooted in emotional intelligence and strength, because they know that sharing their true selves with the right people builds profound, meaningful connections. These relationships are not built on the fleeting exchanges of surface-level conversations, but on deep trust and mutual respect. By withholding vulnerability when it's not earned, Sigma females protect themselves from being exploited or misunderstood. But once someone proves themselves worthy of their trust, their vulnerability becomes a gift that deepens bonds and fosters loyalty. They're not afraid to be vulnerable. They just understand that it's a rare, valuable part of themselves that should only be shared with those who truly matter. Number 10. Myth. They're misunderstood by choice. The myth that Sigma females are misunderstood by choice suggests they somehow enjoy being enigmatic or out of sync with the world around them. In reality, they don't seek to be misunderstood at all. They're simply unapologetically themselves. The misinterpretation comes from their unwillingness to conform to societal norms or follow the crowd. Sigma females live authentically, and that authenticity often defies the expectations others have for how they should behave, which leads to confusion or misjudgment. Their refusal to follow the usual script, whether in relationships, careers, or social interactions, can make others uneasy. People are often uncomfortable with what they don't understand, so when a Sigma female doesn't adhere to traditional patterns or go along with the typical flow, they're labeled as different or aloof. But the reality is, Sigma females aren't out to provoke or isolate. They simply don't care for superficiality or societal pressure to fit in. Misunderstanding is an inevitable result of their individuality. Sigma females don't need to constantly explain or justify their choices because they trust their instincts. Their decisions may seem unconventional, but they're grounded in personal values and self-awareness. For them, it's not about seeking approval or being understood by everyone. It's about living true to themselves, even if others don't get it. They don't intentionally keep people at arm's length, but they won't force connections either. If you take the time to understand a Sigma female, you'll find someone who values substance over conformity, and who is more than willing to build authentic relationships with those who are ready to embrace her for who she truly is. Misunderstanding isn't a choice. It's simply a byproduct of being unapologetically unique in a world that often values fitting in over standing out. In the end, the myths surrounding Sigma females often arise from their refusal to conform to societal expectations and their ability to live authentically without seeking validation from others. They are not aloof or emotionless, nor do they avoid leadership or relationships. Instead, they are deeply introspective, self-assured individuals who prioritize meaningful connections over superficial ones and approach life with quiet strength and resilience. Sigma females don't fit neatly into the molds others try to place them in. They shatter those molds altogether. Their independence isn't a rejection of the world, but a clear declaration of their commitment to themselves. They don't fear vulnerability, nor do they shy away from collaboration. They just prefer to navigate life on their own terms. To truly understand a Sigma female is to embrace the complexity of her nature, the quiet power she possesses, and the authenticity she brings to every situation. So the next time you encounter a Sigma female, don't mistake her calm for detachment or her independence for isolation. She's not hiding. She's simply living in a way that is true to herself, and only those who can appreciate her for who she truly is will see the depth and brilliance she offers. If you've made it this far, then you know there's so much more to discover about the world of Sigma females, and trust me, we're just getting started. If you want to keep diving deep into topics that challenge the norm, uncover the hidden truths, and explore the brilliance of individuals who dare to live life on their own terms, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us on this journey of exploration, self-discovery, and unfiltered insights. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching and bye.